This interview is being brought to you by BabyFightGear.com. Baby Fight Gear is dedicated to providing a single source for children's mixed martial arts. Inspired clothing, the softer side of tough sports. Our clothing is available in sizes newborn to toddler. Okay guys, and we're back on the show here. Let's bring Ken on in. How's it going, man?
Good, how's it going?
Last time we had you on the show was our biggest show to date, so we appreciate you coming back on the program.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, man. So how's the rest of your show going? Pretty good?
It's going good, man. It's going good. I wanted to do something different, though, tonight. I put out the question on Facebook and Twitter for all the fans to come up with the questions for you tonight, and we got a really good response. So these questions tonight are all coming from the fans, if that's cool.
Sure.
We'll kick it off, and actually this is a question from a MMA fighter, Justin McCauley. Yeah, for sure, man. He writes in, and he wanted us to ask you what Japan was like in the Fujiwara days.
Well, I tell you, back then it was a lot of inexperience with young guys coming in. Like you get guys from Holland and Russia and different places where they would come in, right? Well, during that time, there was really nobody doing the mixed martial arts. So when people came in, it was really wild to see that really they didn't have really a mixture of things. It was either they were a kickboxer or they did some sort of judo or jiu-jitsu, but they weren't mixed. So back in the Pancras days was truly one of those things where you had to stand up against a grappler, and so it was, just when it started here in the States, where you had discipline against discipline. That's about what it was in Japan when you had different people coming in. So it was a great experience, and I got to learn a lot while I was there.
Next question comes from Travis Lind, and I know this is a question you get a lot, but this is coming from a fan, so he wants to know why you wanted to go to WWE or WWF back in the day.
Well, what happened on that was the UFC was doing really well, and at the time I was champion, and I had the opportunity to be able to do this and support my family. Well, it got to a point where Bob Meyerowitz was struggling with the athletic commissioner or with the powers to be, the politics involved with MMA. They were trying to close it down. Every place we went, we had to go to court, so it was costing a lot of money. And it just got to a point where he couldn't pay me what I needed to support my family. And also, too, they were in the middle of basically, shutting down on pay-per-view. And that was my bread and butter to support my family. So I had to look in other directions in order to support my family. And I had a great opportunity with pro wrestling to be able to go in and do my style, still be able to practice the submission holds that I've learned in case I could get back into MMA. So I was always ready to come back into it. It popped its head up, and it was taken off again, and where I could make my family. And fortunate for me, it did. And so that was the reason why I really went, was because I needed to support my family. My family came first. My career came second.
Very good, man. Very good. Okay, next question is from Matt, and he brings a little bit of sarcasm to the table with this question. He asks, why didn't you get braces like your brother?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that one, but I think my brother likes to be a little more prettier than me.
Nice. Okay. This one's from Jason. How does it feel losing to Tito 3 times?
Well, how does it feel? It feels like the first time.
Right.
It sucks. It sucks. Listen to a guy that, especially when you have injuries and, you're not as fast and your timing's off, because you're getting a little bit older. And it's just, your mind's still there, your heart's still there, but your body's just not really going what it used to when you were 22, 26, 28, 30 years old. So it's frustrating as a man when you get older and some of those skills diminish. And that's kind of what it was with Tito during that time. My skills were slowing down. I wasn't able to keep up with a guy like that who was in top of his game and was a world champion. So I was definitely fighting at a disadvantage, and it sucks. I mean, someone asks how it feels to lose. It really does. It sucks. And unless you've ever experienced that, where you've actually become really good at something, where you've been a world champion and on top of the world, and no one's ever going to be able to see that feeling, and then all of a sudden it's taken away because you don't have the skills to keep it. It sucks, and it hurts, but it's part of life when you go through this stuff. It's part of the business. It's you go in with the sword and you come out with the sword.
Yeah, man, and Tito just went through that too, eh?
I kind of laughed when I was asked about Tito going into retirement, and he was feeling some aches and pains, and I kind of laughed a little bit, and I just kind of made a comment. Well, he gets to feel a little bit about how I felt.
Yeah, for sure, man. Okay, we got another question here. This is from Justin, and he asks, what fighter interests you the most now? And I went in depth with him on this. I said, what do you mean exactly? A guy that Ken likes to watch, or a guy that Ken would possibly want to fight? And he said, either or. So, whatever you think on this question, man.
Well, I don't know. I guess my question on that would be, it's not really one individual. I think I'm more interested in the landscape of MMA and the direction that it's going. Not necessarily watching one fighter or anything like that, but basically where's my legacy going to end up at? Is this sport going to keep going in the direction it needs to go? And so like I said, I'm more interested in the landscape of MMA and the direction it's going. And I think it's going in a real good direction, but at the same time, there are some things that I wish I could fix. And, unfortunately, I don't have those opportunities. But, and also, too, if I wanted to answer it the other way, at this particular time, there's only 3 people that I would want to fight at this particular time. One of them would be Frank. The other one would be Horace Gracie. And, the other one, which I think will probably happen, is Dan Severn.
Next one's from Brian, and it's sort of same idea, but he says, what's the difference between the present generation of fighters versus the generation of your time?
I think it's toughness. I think that, back when I was going through it, it was basically you get guys who were just really mentally tough. There wasn't a lot of training and a lot of skill out there for these guys to come in there and really, compete with some of the guys that have been doing it since they were kids, with the jiu-jitsu and stuff. So you had a lot of guys come in with a lot of heart, a lot of determination, a lot of toughness, and because they had to in order to, keep up with the guys that have been doing some of this stuff for years. And coming into the MMA, they had to bring in their fists and their toughness from street fighting or whatever it is they did, and bring that mental toughness in there to want to keep the other guys from taking them to the ground or submitting them if they do get to the ground and pounding them, staying out of a place to get submitted. And there's just a lot of mental toughness, and they had to learn things quickly because, in order to catch up. Because there's only a handful of guys that really had the ability to compete at that level. And so these guys really had to dig down and grind it out. So I would just say that, the biggest difference between the fighters today and the fighters when I was going through it, I would say is just the mental toughness and also the ability, having the ability to be able to learn these things through training, where in my generation they didn't have that. This generation, they've got everything they need to learn for training.
Okay, Ken, this next question comes from Lydia, and it's actually a 2-part question. First, she asks, she wants to know what really happened with the Kimbo Slice fight, and second, she wants to know, how does she get an autograph picture?
Well, first of all, she needs to go to my website for an autograph picture. And second of all, it's already been said about what happened with the Kimbo Slice fight. I know a lot of people want to say things that are different. It's just the same old thing again. People want to take stabs at me because things didn't work out the way they wanted them to. So, they throw all this other stuff into the pot. Bottom line is my father was dying. And actually he was he was kept alive on this ventilator or whatever it was. I was living in the hospital for 3 weeks prior to that fight. because my dad went into a coma. So I lived at the hospital with my wife. I would go to training, and I'd come back because if he woke up, I wanted my face to be the first one he saw. Unfortunately, he didn't wake up, so I had to make a serious decision on whether or not I was going to go and fight. And I made the decision I would because I've never backed down from a fight and do anything, and I know my father wouldn't want me to do it then. So I went to the fight. My wife stayed home and stayed at the hospital with my dad. While I was gone, I think it was the night before the fight, I had gotten a phone call that my dad had gotten worse, and they wanted to ask me whether or not that I wanted to pull the plug or just, if I was to revive him. It was I told him, you know what, do not do anything until I get back. And so, one, I was fighting with the organization about some situations that we had. Two, my father was dying, and I was asked whether I should let him die or not. And so, therefore, my mind was completely scrambled. And so, with that being like it was, I said, you know what, I got to get my mind right. So I told my friend Dan Freeman that I needed to get in there and start rolling around. And that was the next morning. And I there's no different than when you see guys rolling around in the locker room before the fight. It was the same deal. And, I got people on there going, I cannot believe that guy was doing that the day of the fight. And it's like you guys that do it all the friggin' time. Yeah. They do it 10 minutes before their fight. So, it was the same deal. The only thing with that was that, Freeman popped his head up. When I was rolling around, I had my head above his. He just a nice little pop-up, like a stand-up pop-up, and I was going to chop him. And he caught right on the bone of my eye, and I felt a trick of blood coming down, and I went, oh, no. We went to the hospital and literally told the doctor, you triple-stitch this. I don't care what you got to do, but we got to get the commission to pass this because I have to fight tonight. And so they put double stitching in there. And we went into the commission and we said, you know what, we are ready to fight. And the commission would not let me fight. So all these rumors that go around about different stupid things, it's just people making things up.
We got a question here from Jason Pagel, and he says, what does he think of Frank's teeth since he got his braces off? So people are obsessed with Frank Shamrock's braces, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish him the best of luck. I think what Frank's trying to do with his teeth is he's trying to get into the acting business and whatever smile. He wants to smile and have pretty white teeth. So, hey, God bless him. Whatever it is he's doing, I hope it works for him. But, hey, I'm not sure that the braces thing at that age, I'm not quite sure about that. But, hey, whatever suits him.
Oh, yeah, man, we had a few questions come in from Twitter. Dustin Stratford and J.R. Hansen. Dustin's question was, would you ever take a fight with Herschel Walker? And Hansen wants to know about the James Toney fight.
Yeah, the James Toney fight, I haven't heard a word since he got beat. We went over to Germany or Russia, I can't remember which country it was, and he just got beat up over there. And since that time, I haven't heard a word about fighting. So I'm sure this guy isn't talking to any media, and he hasn't popped his head up anywhere because he doesn't want to fight. It's a stupid thing for him to think about even trying to fight. So with that, I think that that fight's not going to happen. And as far as Herschel Walker, I guess at the right price, like I said, it'd have to be worth my while. I don't fight cheap. But, it has to be worth my while, and I think it would definitely have to be, it would have to mean something. Right now, the only three that I'm interested in fighting, like I said, unless something comes up and someone opposite and it sounds juicy enough for me to do it. But basically, the only three guys that I'm really have an interest in because it's something that closes the chapter of my book. But he'll say he wants to do it, or he'll say that I'm too chicken to do it. But the bottom line is Frank's the one. He's always been the one. I'll fight him on a drop of a dime. Doesn't matter to me. But that's not going to happen. And Horace Gracie, that's not going to happen. But again, like I said, I've been talking with Severn, not myself, but basically my agents, because I really want to get that fight. If I can't close the chapter of these other two guys who don't want to step up. That's fine. They can go hide. But, you know, the third one's Severn, and he's definitely said he'll step up, and he said he would. So we'll see what happens.
Good stuff, Ken. Thanks for giving us the time, man. Anything else you'd like to promote or throw out there?
Don't be surprised in the next 3 or 4 months that you don't hear this fight with me and Severn coming out.
Yeah, that'll be awesome, man. That's a fight that fans have wanted to see for a very long time.
Well, I've been wanting it for a while. It just never actually happened. It's one of those chapters that, you know, I want to get closed, you know, and I have that opportunity to do it because I have a guy who also wants to get that chapter closed.
Okay, thanks for doing this, buddy.
All right, man. You guys take care.
Okay, see ya.